Welcome again to my tens of friends. It is me, Teacher TJ. One day it'll be tens of thousands, so don't get it twisted. All are welcome. But right now, I think I have about 19 of y'all, so I ain't even quite tens of tens yet, but I'm still for you and the rest of y'all. Come on now, subscribe so that you don't miss anything. This episode is season 2, episode 13. Episode 13, Fundraiser. This episode begins in Jacob and Barbara's class, and she's telling or in Jacob's class, and Barbara's telling the kids to be careful while fundraising. Oh, y'all, fundraising as a kid was never my thing. There were two times where I realized that fundraising was not for me. One time I was selling candy and I went to this older lady's house, and it smelled kind of bad or weird. I don't know. The smell was unfamiliar, so I was like, yeah, okay, this is strange. And I'm one of them kids whose mom like did not let you go inside of other people's houses. So just the idea of knocking on people's door and going inside their house was a little sketchy for me anyway. But I went to the lady house to sell her some candy. I knocked on her door. She was going to buy the candy. She was like, "Oh, just wait a minute." The old lady went to go get her money, and I was gone. I was out of there. One thing my mom always told me was trust your gut. So being that I was in this lady's house and it just felt strange, it just felt weird, and I was a little kid too. Her house was pristine, but it just smelled strange. But between the smell and the uneasy feeling, I had to go. So I left her house without selling anything, and I was okay with that. As a kid, it just felt strange, and as an adult, I still remember feeling like I was not supposed to go inside that lady's house, and I'm glad I didn't. Now, whether she was going to buy some candy for me or not, I don't know, and I guess we'll never find out. But what I did know is I was not there to stay there and see what was going to happen if she's going to bring them. I don't know. Lady, I got to go. And then there was another time where my music teacher gave us a big old box of chocolate, right? And I chose to sell M&Ms. That didn't work for me either. I love chocolate, especially at that time. So, needless to say, I ate it all. I ate every candy bar, maybe probably about not just a few, a couple I didn't eat. I probably sold, and then I used that money to go to the store to buy me some more candy. Winning. I can't remember how the end of that story went. Um, Maybe my mom paid for the candy. I don't know, but I know I did not sell it all. And I don't think any of my classmates sold it either. Not sure what they expected to happen when you give a bunch of kids from the projects candy, but I don't think it went too well for my music teacher. Now, my children have sold candy before, and personally, I don't recommend selling candy. Kids, it seems like way too much work, and the payoff is so small. Although, the fact of the matter is, it can build resilience. People's skills and so much more can be gained from going door to door selling candy as a kid. Just the whole process can be rewarding. And those rewards, of course, aren't really monetary or even in a good gift. Have you seen the stuff that these kids get for selling the candy? Like an eraser for selling 500 pieces. I remember telling my kids, look, I'm not going door to door. And the way I am, I just can't see myself sending y'all out there to go door to door to sell some candy. But you pick something up off that list, and you can do your chores, read a book, or whatever, and I will gladly go buy it for you. And that was that on that. Shout out to all the kids out there who are hustlers, knocking door to door, selling that candy. You are the real MVP. Barbara encourages her students to exhibit some pride when they're selling the candy. The fundraiser is for a field trip to the Franklin Institute, which is a world renowned museum. Barbara encourages her students to do it respectfully. Jacob lets them know not to get too high on their own supply, like I did. I ate all that candy. Let me know down in the comments if you all ever had any experience as kids selling candy, or what was your experience like selling with your kids selling candy, or if you sold anything door to door and how that went. Keep it PG, please. Miss Teagues has her students outside selling candy, and one student asked a man in Staples, um, who is Maurice, but they asked him to buy some candy, and he said, "Hell no." I swear, men who are rude to kids make me think of that once scene in Baby Boy. Now, I did see that movie.
Good morning, scrub. Built you a little fort, huh? About your little fort.
Part that was so rude. But Maurice buys some candy from one of Miss Teague's students. He tells them that's game. Then he invites Janine out on a date. He's only said one line, and he seems to be problematic. She's not happy and as giddy as could be. Meanwhile, Jacob, whom is hardly ever teaching, I swear he's never teaching, he's in the basement with Mr. Johnson, where they found a cat, and they're trying to get him out, but I don't think the cat is really budging. In Ava's office, I think she's peeling a potato when a student walks in. She asks him if he came to warn her about the flood because he's flooding. The student says he had a growth spurt and he may not be able to get some more pants before the school year is out. Ava gives him a bigger pair of pants that were inside of her desk. In the hallway, the students gather around to mark their fundraising progress, and fundraising isn't going too good. They're barely making any sales, and Melissa says they don't need to sell candy. They just need to pick the lock. Barbara does not agree with that, and Ava walks up with a box of money. Barbara says she was considering throwing in a towel, but the teachers convinced her to work with Principal Coleman because if she keeps going at the rate that she's going, they will definitely hit their goal. Barbara agrees to let her students know she's taking a group of kids to sell candy after school. Barbara tells the students to remember everything she's taught them. Ava tells them, forget everything she taught y'all. The first thing you have to do is pretend like you just made the sale. She approaches a man and she asks him, how many bars would you like to buy from this adorable little kid? He says, I'll ask one, and he and he asks for his change. And Ava says, no, we don't give out change. After making that sale, she goes on to give them a second tip, which is to appear like they're sick. She told the kids to act like they had polio. Janine runs into Gregory in the hallway and she tells him about her date that she has set up with Maurice. And Gregory tells her to be careful because he knows his friend and he likes Janine. In Principal Ava's office, Ava has Barbara announce that they will be going on a field trip because they reached their selling goal. Yay! In the break room, Janine is telling Melissa about Maurice and her date. She tells Melissa that he brought some candy from her, which prompts Greg to buy some candy. Mr. Johnson walks in with the cat, and Jacob tells him it's actually time for the cat to take a nap. And Mr. Johnson disagrees, and they're at odds about the cat like they both daddy. Meanwhile, Ava is in a mall with Barbara selling candy. Turns out one of her kids was selling candy to one of her church members for $2 instead of $1, which really embarrassed Barbara. And Barbara told Ava what's going on, and Ava replied, "Good, I told them to do it." It was like more of an incentive. Barbara is pretty upset for embarrassing her by overselling the candy to her church member. And Ava asked her, like, you were embarrassed? You talking about the same church member that was stealing money from the church? Barbara got upset and was like, just cancel the whole trip because she's not into compromising her morals in front of her church members to sell candy. Back at school, Jacob and Mr. Johnson are arguing about the cat as if they're the parents, and Melissa convinces them to share custody. In the hallway, Gregory has a short conversation with Jacob, and Jacob realizes that Gregory is jealous of Marie taking Janine on a date. And Jacob discovers that Gregory likes Janine. Mr. Johnson was holding the cat, stroking it like he, I don't know why I want to say Gargamel, but the dude from the Smurfs with the cat looking like the plot thickens. In Barbara's class, Ava walks in and lets her know that she's aware of the kids' financial stresses and she can rectify the problem by helping them learn how to hustle and to get it themselves, like she did. And now she owns the school. She doesn't own the school, she's just technically over the school. Mr. Johnson and Jacob find out that their cat actually belongs to one of the students who brought him in for a show and tell but lost him. Henry, the hustling student, apologizes to Barbara for overcharging her friend. She tells him she's sorry for embarrassing him like that. That really boosted Henry's spirit, and he says he's never had an adult apologize to him before, and that's lit. Adults, I think there is a lot of truth in that. For whatever reasons, adults feel like they can't apologize to children, even when they know they're wrong. I sincerely ask that you apologize to children when you know that you're wrong. It can do a lot for their self esteem, and honestly, it can do a lot for you. Henry forgives her and she thanks him and she invites him to go sell baked goods at the church bake sale. He accepts and he negotiates, earning 10% of the 5% that she asked, and they shake on it. Gregory goes to see Janine and he tells her to have fun on her date, and he advises her not to order the ribs like she intended to because she eats them aggressively. She agrees and then she leaves for her date. She ordered the ribs though, and it did look pretty aggressive. And I'm thinking like, how do you eat ribs aggressively? But it was pretty aggressive. That's all for this episode. Thank you so much for tuning in, and I'll catch you on the next one. Bye, Tim.